Hey guys, it's Joe from Pocketnow.com, and today both Bing and Google released updates to their apps for Android. On the Google side it was their Google Maps app, and on the Bing side it was the Bing app for Android. But what are they? What can they do? Which one does what better? Let's go find out right now! Alright, so Microsoft has updated their Bing app for Android, and Google has updated their Maps app for Android. Now, showing you the differences between both of them in detail would just make for way too long a video, and I know you don't want to see that. So we're just going to kind of touch on some top-level differences, and then we're going to jump right into Maps, because that's really where the big news centers around. So first and foremost, Bing installs one icon, one app. That's it. Google, on the other hand, Google Maps installs not only the Maps app, but also latitude, navigation, and places, which are really just different views inside the Maps app. So you don't have to download 4 separate apps. It does all of them. So these icons then become more shortcuts into specific areas of Google Maps, the app. Now, one thing not related to the Maps app is Google Search. And this is running Android 2.1, so it's not running the latest version of the Google Search widget, so that's why it looks a little bit older. But what this does is obviously it lets you search Google either using your keyboard or using your microphone. So not part of Maps, but that's the functionality that you get from Bing. So let's go ahead and jump into Bing over here. We'll open that up. It animates up, shows you the Bing logo, and then loads what I like to call the Bing wallpaper. And just like Bing, the search engine, it has these little hotspots that tell you information about the picture. So, just kind of interesting tidbits, not really useful to what you're trying to do, but informational about, just Bing in general. Now, when it opens up, you see that it opens what I call the task tray. Now, this is pretty much the same thing as Google's separate apps over here. It lets you search for other stuff and customize things. Go into movies, go into maps, go into local, which local and places are the same. Maps and maps are the same. Directions and navigation are pretty much the same. Movies, Google doesn't have a version for Maps that covers that, and they don't have images, but both of those are available through the Google search itself. So in a different place, but still you're able to do that. So let's go right into Maps and show you the difference. So here is Bing Maps, and here is Google Maps 5. And over here I've got San Francisco, California all queued up, so let's go ahead and do that over here. Now, we're both on Wi-Fi. And I don't know if you saw that, but here, if we zoom out, you can see I've got a grid that needs to be filled in. And that's the way things used to be with Google Maps. Here you can see I can zoom out quite a bit, and it loads up the grid quite a bit faster. Now, the difference between the two grid styles, this is still using bitmap grids, meaning it's actually an image, like a JPEG image or an actual bitmap image. And every time I zoom, it kind of scales those, but then it has to pull in new tiles for me. Google used to have 256 by 256 grids. Well, now instead of just true bitmaps, now they have what are called vectors. And vectors are a lot faster than bitmaps. They also require quite a bit less download size to get that information. And it's just really, really fast. So we can come in here and zoom in all the way into San Francisco just really fast. And I still have the vectors that were already loaded, I just get more information, and those vector tiles get a lot more precise the closer I zoom. So if I do the same thing over here and zoom in, and yes, I could be doing a spread to zoom or using the zoom buttons, but we'll just use the double tap to zoom here so I can show you on both devices. So here we are, we're zoomed in pretty much to the same area, the Mission District here in San Francisco, and you can see, other than a little bit different style, we get basically the same information. But here's where things get different. If I take 2 fingers over on Google Maps 5, tap and pull down, it tips my map down so that I'm seeing more of a 3D view. If I do that over here, it just zooms. It doesn't know what to do because it doesn't have that 3D capability that this has. Now, 3D is really where this is at, so let's zoom in a little bit and we get more detail. Zoom in a little bit more and you can see all the buildings pop up. Now, we showed you that in a prior video, and it's really, really cool. And for some reason on the Samsung device here, I can't rotate it like I would expect to be able to do on some of the other devices. But And we can't even rotate by the digital compass like you can with other devices. Don't know why that is, but still very cool. I can see all these buildings. I can zoom in and get a lot more detail. And as I scroll around, it's just very, very fast. So really cool. Over on the Microsoft side, I don't have that, but I still do have the ability to zoom in and out and get the information that I need. You'll notice I also have traffic information. Now I get traffic information on the other side as well, so it's about the same thing. It shows me where traffic is heavy so I can avoid those, and that really comes into play when we're talking about navigating. So let's jump right into nav. Okay, so to get into navigation on Bing Maps, we go to Menu and Directions. It asks us where we want to start from and where we want to end. So let's come over here to our end point and let's say San Francisco, California. It thinks about what I said, recognizes it, and then we can hit go. To do the same thing over here, we're going to go into Menu. If we can remember where the menu button is on the Samsung Epic 4G, and we're going to go to Directions. From Directions, we're going to go from my location to the end point. For the end point, we're going to choose San Francisco, California. We could also have done a voice input there as well. Now, one thing is right away we can choose if we want to drive, if we want to walk, if we want to ride a bike, or if we want to take mass transit. So we'll do a vehicle. That's one thing that Google does really well, is they've got mass transit and other options in there. So here is how we drive to it. And if you can see, there are a little bit different ways that they have this presented. Here on Google we have a turn-by-turn. Well, this also has turn-by-turn, but it kind of shows us an overview. I like the overview a little bit better than the turn-by-turn, but it's nice either way. So let's go ahead and hit go, and it zooms into our starting point. If I hit the navigate arrow, it launches over into Google Maps Navigation, which is the nav side of Google Maps. Now, navigation's been using vectors for quite a while, and it's something that they really didn't tout, they didn't advertise, but that's what's let you have a little bit more precise, a little bit faster way to navigate through on the Google Maps navigation side rather than the Bing side. So let's talk about Bing for the time being. So this gives me, here I am, and as I drive it will update my position with that little dot, and as I get to a new turn it will tell me what I need to do next. So there's my next step, and on along my route. Now, earlier versions of the app, it would show you your point on the map, but it would keep the map tile centered. So that was kind of lame. The new version, I don't believe, does that. It keeps the map centered around where you are. So it's a little bit more useful, but it doesn't have some of the advantages that Google Maps navigation has. Alright, so Google Maps navigation is, you've all seen this before, so we'll just be really brief. The first thing that you've got is kind of this 3D tilted view. It helps you see where you're going and realize kind of a better view of the roads and the turns that are coming up, rather than the Bing Maps version. Now up at the top you've got this nice little green direction arrow. It says, hey, in this direction in 0 feet you're going to go straight. That's because I'm not in my car. Otherwise it would say, hey, quarter mile, turn right, or 5 miles, turn left, you know, whatever my next direction is, so I know in advance which way I need to prep to turn. It also shows me where I am now and where I'm heading. So really nice, really easy way to see. It also shows me down here on my route how long it's going to take, and in this case I've got a green light, meaning traffic from now through way down the road is green. If I needed to, I could tap on that and choose an alternate route that would get me around some traffic or some backlogs. And you can see wherever they have traffic data, it's green. I've got a little bit of a slowdown over here in West Wendover, a little bit more over there. So if I needed to choose another route, I could do that really easy and quickly. So really nice. One thing that I do like is up here, this green, that looks just like the freeway signs that show you upcoming exits and whatnot. So the travel metaphor, you know, the directional, this is where you want to go, is carried over into the app, and it does that really well in my opinion. So if I had to choose between navigating between Google Maps navigation and Bing Maps, well, I don't think there's much of a comparison here. Now if I were looking for a full-featured everything in one app, well, Bing's got it beat. Especially if you're looking up movies and whatnot, that's really good. Over here on the other side, Google is faster because it's got those vector images. It seems to be a bit faster to load as well, a bit faster to recognize directions. So just all around a quicker experience. And we're talking about phones that are pretty much the same speed, so that's really not a factor in how fast they are. But it's interesting to look at the two different and really forerunning apps as far as maps and navigation go and see how well they do at everything. They're both free, they're both in the market, and I recommend them both, though I do lean a little bit more towards the Google Maps navigation. If you like Bing Maps better, I'd like to know why, and if you don't like Google Maps 5, I would also like to know why. Go ahead and leave us comments down below. Make sure you subscribe to our video channel so you can see more of these side-by-side comparisons. So showing off Google Maps 5 versus the Bing app for Android. I'm Joe for Pocketnow.com.